For those of you who listening that live in the southern part of the United States, you know, when I thought years ago of New York, I thought about New York City, and I thought about crime and what have you, and I was wrong there. Maybe at one time, but not these days. But I thought New York was, you know, all in my mind. You think of New York, Manhattan, the city, and all those things. The countryside in New York was the most gorgeous driving. We towed a race car all the way from Florida to New York. Don't ask me why we did this, but it sure was a lot of fun. But I and my team put that race car on a trailer, and we just struck out, and we went to Oswego, not Owego, Oswego, New York, and we went to the racetrack there and had so much fun, and the people treated us like we were royalty. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. So that was an opportunity for me to see and the topography of the land, and there were hills and rolling hills and woods and green, and it was just gorgeous. Bobby Likis Car Clinic has been brought to you in part by Berryman Engine Oil Extender, folks. As your engine runs, it slowly depletes additives in the oil. And Berryman Engine Oil Extender is a super premium engine oil additive formulated to extend the life of all in-service gasoline and diesel engine oils by up to 50%. You can learn more at berrymanproducts.com. berrymanproducts.com. Another hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic coming up, and I still have a lot of information. So you got to go take a break and come back, and we'll start all over again. I'm Bobby Likis. Likis, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Folks, you never want to get surprised by a dead battery. A vehicle's original battery generally lasts about 3 to 5 years, but many fail long before then. Next time you're in for an oil service, have the technician test your battery. Better now than too late. Today's vehicles have start-stop systems, navigation, radio amplifiers, electric fuel pumps, 25 or more onboard computer modules, and serious electronic controls that depend on a strong, fully charged battery. Make sure the car you're driving has a healthy battery. Make yourself a note. Go to autobatteries.com and see for yourself how a battery can keep you safely driving down the road or put you on the side, just like that. At autobatteries.com, you'll see battery technology, battery testing, how to choose the battery, how to jumpstart your battery, and more about AGM batteries, my choice. I'm not here to make you a battery expert, rather to help you better understand why a reliable battery is essential for your road trips. Go to autobatteries.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
If you're familiar with the cultivated section of the newspaper, you probably understand this message quite well. You see, in the cultivated section, everything gets abbreviated. Consonants, vowels, prepositional phrases, the very building blocks of our language are thrown right out the window. And that makes it difficult when you're trying to sell your car. You've got a limited amount of space to work with. And by the time you abbreviate the description of your car down to a couple of fragmented sentences, it sounds less like a car and more like a Bluck sedan with sniffed like new condition lemurs. No wonder more people are selling their cars through eBay Motors. They can post unlimited text and photo descriptions, and with a nationwide marketplace, they're likely to sell it for more. Plus, both parties can be covered by eBay's Vehicle Protection Program. Buyers are happy, sellers are happy, and no one's abbreviating. eBay Motors, a better way to sell your car.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Well, there's my voice. I've got another hour to go, so I need your help, folks, because I'm losing my voice here. So that means that it's time for you to take over the mic. And that's easy for you to do because Miss Hannah will take your call at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. And I will put you in the queue. There you go. You ever had a frog in your throat? Well, I wonder where that came from. Where did that, that colloquialism come from? A frog in your throat. I guess it sounded like you're croaking, but I'm not croaking this morning. So what we'll do is we'll open the phones, and Hannah will take your call at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546, and then we'll talk cars. I have tons of information. And the most commonly searched car questions on Google, I touched on that the first hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic, and one of those is how to get a car loan, another how to remove scratches from a car, how to drive a car, and those sorts of things. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Motorcraft, parts backed by a limited warranty which covers, get this folks, 2-year unlimited mileage, limited labor costs, and no commercial exceptions. You can learn more at motorcraft.com and see your seller for warranty details. In the meantime, your call is coming up. Great show coming up. I'm Bobby Likis, 888 Car Clinic. Likis, you'll love us. Time for another edition of Cooling System Q&A brought to you by Motorrad, your first choice for vehicle thermostats and caps. Why is the thermostat so important? Cooling system regulates engine temperature and helps prevent overheating. While it's comprised of several components, the thermostat plays a critical role with efficient cooling system operation. It must regulate coolant flow properly to maintain a specific engine operating temperature in addition to providing quick warm-up. Motorrad's new stainless steel thermal element Ultrastat is unmatched for corrosion resistance. Its revolutionary Reax wax mixture provides quicker reaction time. The Ultrastat also features bilinear valve technology, which prevents thermal shock to cooling system components, gradually increasing coolant flow versus instant maximum flow found in traditional thermostats. The Ultrastat precisely controls engine temperature to ensure the lowest emission standards, maximum fuel efficiency, and terrific interior cabin comfort. The Motorrad Ultrastat line is the perfect thermostat upgrade option with coverage for over 160 million vehicles on the road today. Motorrad, leading the way in coverage and service. We recently had an 09 Honda Pilot come into the shop with 169,000 miles on the odometer. The vehicle owner said the cabin was starting to smell like coolant, and he was concerned. Upon closer inspection, we found a heater core leak. Choices were to keep the vehicle and make a repair, which at best is half a day's labor plus parts, or sell the vehicle and buy a different used car that could have its own set of problems. We presented a third option, K-Seal. You've heard me talk about K-Seal before. Well, I don't just talk about it, we actually use the product in our service shop. It's a pour-in solution designed to stop leaks and help prevent future leaks. Other sealers use sodium silicate, which has a tendency to clog the system. K-Seal features ceramic technology that's designed to repair the leak without clogging. Our customer went with K-Seal, and 1 month later, no more leak. Learn more about K-Seal at kseal.com. Don't just seal it, K-Seal it.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Car dealers like playing games. They play percentage points, they play markups, but I don't like playing with my money. So I got my auto loan through LendingTree.com. I filled out one simple form, a marketplace of banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. After all, the car buying game is a lot easier to win when you're holding all the cards.
LendingTree.com. When banks compete, you win. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome to this hour. Welcome again. I'm Bobby Likis, and the most commonly searched car questions on Google. Your calls, a great time. Please call in earlier than later, because toward the end of the program, the second hour here, we just get inundated with calls, and I won't have time, and I have to rush to answer your question. So 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. That's 227-2546. So before we go to the phones, the most commonly searched car questions on Google. Almost 10,000 Americans a month aren't sure how to buy a car. In the USA, 8,100 people a month want to know how to hotwire a car. Now, I find that really interesting because with the technology that's used today, hotwiring an automobile is not as easy as it once. And I'm always amused when I watch television and see a thief where they get under the dash and they rip out these two wires. In the first place, you got to take half the car apart to get to the wires, if you can get to them, and then they touch these two wires together and they spark. That's really amusing to me because there's more to it than that, but that's neither here nor there. It's in the movies, right? The number one motor vehicle query Americans ask Google is how to jump a car. And here's just a few lists, and then I'll take your calls. Now's a good time. 888 Car Clinic. How to buy a car, how to change a car battery, how to clean seats, how to hotwire a car, as I said, how to sell a car, how to lease a car. Now that's a good question. That is I think one of the hardest to understand. You never, and I never use the word never. Well, I just used it. So I'll just say this, I rarely use the word never, but I can assure you it is very difficult to figure how to properly lease an automobile. There's just something elusive about how that deal works. And I've leased one twice in my lifetime. And I said I'd never do it again, but I changed my mind. I may do it again. How to remove scratches from a car, how to buy a used car, how to drive a car. How to drive a car. So Fabio, we're going to take someone who's never driven a car and put them online and let them watch a YouTube video and then give them the keys? Really? Really? I taught my girls how to drive a car. And it was really relatively easy. But that's, folks, you know, ask your dad or your cousin, your uncle, or some car guru how to teach you how to drive a car, how to fix a dent, and how to get a car loan. So again, this website that I found this information is the word click, the number 4, and REG, click4reg.co.uk. And I found it very interesting. Okay, enough of that. But I wanted to share that with you, and I've waited too long to do that. Let's take a call from Wayne, and then we'll take your calls at 888-227-2546. Wayne, thanks for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, thanks, Bobby. Hopefully your voice will get a little bit better here soon.
Well, yeah, and a frog in the throat, and actually we found some information about that. My mind works really strangely sometimes, but. But we did find information about that, and Jonathan or Fabio, Jonathan's going to bring it in, and they're the old colloquialisms, and there's a story behind everything. What's the story behind your transmission issue on your Chevrolet?
Okay, well, it's got 162,000 miles on it. It's a 09 Traverse. Now I didn't get the recommended. I missed that recommended time to get the transmission. I guess it would just be the fluid drained and replaced.
Okay.
But it started doing like a little something strange. It would jerk a little bit, and then even more so, some rough shifting. And then as I would make a turn, say the engine would continue to idle as if I were pressing the accelerator, even though I wasn't. And I spoke with a gentleman at a decent or reputable shop. It wasn't the big company that handles only transmissions, but it was a reputable shop. And he went into this litany about how that particular make and model had a pin that would break often, that it would cause a problem with the plate and even with the clutch. And he was saying, he was sure that was, what the case was, obviously without even looking at it.
Well, wait. What is it doing that you don't like?
It would jerk in between shifting, say, from second and the third gear.
Okay.
You could feel it. You could feel it jerk. And it would rough shift. It would stutter at times while you're driving. And he was letting me know that at times the computer would act up and even lock up and just keep going first gear.
You said would, like this is past tense, or has it?
Well, that's when I spoke to him on the phone about it. He was telling me that I should park it.
Okay, but wait. In the interest of time, tell me what it's doing. I really don't. What he would or what he said, and then let me put my mind and thought and process. What's it doing that you don't like?
Yeah. Okay. Well, at the end of the day, he was going to tell me that it has a learning transmission, so that if you replace it, if you replace the transmission, and then a learning transmission will,
okay. But Wayne, what is it that's doing today that you don't like?
Similar things. The same. Similar things.
So no one's ever worked on it yet.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, here's the first thing, and in the short story, yes, there are engine issues and computer issues and drivability issues that can make a transmission behavior make you think that it's a bad transmission when it's really not. It could be an engine performance issue, and quite often that does happen. And the reverse happens. Sometimes people say the transmission's jumping when it does have an issue within the transmission. Usually, when a transmission has issues, it acts differently and performs differently when it's cold versus hot. And cold means let it sit overnight, and that's when you first drive off. And cold would be ambient temperature. Hot would be 200 degrees after you've driven it no less than 15 minutes. So does your transmission act up the same way, hot and or cold?
Good point, Bobby. No, when it's cold, that's when I experience, in fact, first crank, first drive, that's when I experience that pause and I'm, say, turning into, let's say, making a left turn.
Right.
And the engine would rev a little bit, and then I'd come off the gas so that it wouldn't, obviously.
Right, yeah, obviously not true. Yeah. So two things need to be done. When you turn a corner, the transmission doesn't know that you're turning unless the fluid level is low, and and there's not enough fluid to cover the suction part of the screen. So that's a given. So checking the fluid level at operating temperature is essential, and that's your first step. Looking at the quality of the fluid, that's another step. Let's see, and then road testing with a technician versus speaking voice to voice would be your third step. So what I recommend that you do is to and I wouldn't do this I do it on a Monday midday or a weekday and not in the morning. And I say in the morning because most service shops are inundated with cars that come in the first hour, like 7:30, 8:30, 9, and finally about 9 or 9:30, then the most cars that are going to come in the morning are all, checked in, and so you'll have an opportunity to get someone to ride with you. So your job would be to contact a service shop, have them to know that you're coming, and then take your car in and have someone ride with you and show that person what your car is doing that you don't like, and then you and that person will be on the same page. And this is true, folks, for every one of you out there that has an issue with an automobile. Now, one last thing, Wayne, that I'll tell you before I let you go is that because this is a cold drive-away sort of problem, you'll want to make an appointment, take your car in, and leave your car on like a Monday night, find a way back to the shop on Tuesday, and then instruct have an agreement that they're not going to crank your car and drive it until you get there. And then when you get there Tuesday morning, your car is going to be overnight stand, just like in your own garage. And then you get in and drive the car, and a technician ride with you, and you say, here's what it does. And once that technician says, oh, I got it. I know what it's doing you don't like. He may not know, or she may not know what's wrong with it, but they'll at least be able to address the issue that you're specifically talking about. Hey, thanks for your call. Hard break coming up. I got to come back. Jeff and Terry on the line. 888 Car Clinic. Your call when I come back. In the service bay this week, a longtime customer's 2000 Ford Taurus. He'd been complaining about a humming noise at highway speeds and grinding when he stopped. With 55,000 miles on the odometer, the driver's had the vehicle since new and never had any work done. No brakes, no suspension. A thorough inspection revealed a number of potential problems. A failing left front wheel bearing, worn-out rear brake pads and rotors, and the beginnings of a leaking brake caliper. Our choice to solve these problems? Motorcraft. Brake systems and suspension repair represent serious work you want done right the first time. Choosing quality parts is critical to ensuring vehicle reliability and longevity. Motorcraft quality brake and suspension parts are engineered for Ford and Lincoln vehicles. From the hub to the rotor, calipers, brake pads, and wheel bearings, Motorcraft quality parts provide you with the stopping power and stability needed for your vehicle. Learn more about Motorcraft brake and suspension parts at motorcraft.com. That's motorcraft.com. Motorcraft, right part, priced right. We recently performed a major service on a 1996 F-150. The vehicle had just under 200,000 miles on it. In addition to fluids and filters, we changed the spark plugs and boots, performed a cooling system flush, and replaced the thermostat, hoses, and drive belts. After a few weeks, the owner noticed a small leak coming from the area where the transmission bolted onto the block. Using a pressure tester, we found that coolant was seeping from one of the freeze plugs at the rear of the engine. This repair would require several hours of labor and another few days or so in the shop. Given the truck's age and the fact it was just in the shop for service, we suggested K-Seal, a one-step permanent multi-purpose system for coolant leak repair that won't clog radiators or heater cores. K-Seal stops leaks and can also prevent future leaks. After driving the truck for a week, the owner called and let us know the leak had stopped. K-Seal is available at fine retailers everywhere, like Napa Auto Parts. Don't just seal it, K-Seal it.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Telephone tip.
From Geico Auto Insurance.
When calling Geico to switch your car insurance, you will not need acetaminophen, naproxen, indomethacin, ibuprofen, a cold compress, an on-call acupuncturist, or any other pain remedy. In 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more. If it were any more painless, you could do it in your sleep, which is theoretically possible since we offer complete 24-hour service. Call 1-800-947-AUTO, 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
When you purchase the latest TV, tablet, or smartphone, don't forget to do the right thing with your old ones. Recycle them. The Consumer Technology Association and its members are making recycling your old devices as easy as buying new ones. Just go to greenergadgets.org, type in your zip code, and you'll instantly find the recycling location closest to your home. You'll also find recycling tips, like asking the store where you buy your new TV if they'll haul away your old one. Don't let your old tech tools clog your local landfill. Just visit greenergadgets.org.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part this morning, folks, by Motorrad, your first choice for vehicle thermostats, closure caps, and engine management systems. You can learn more about their products and their industry-leading application coverage. That's important, because if you need a part for your car, whether it's a sensor for your oxygen sensor or a radiator cap or a thermostat, you have to have a company that knows their business and can supply those parts. And this application coverage is industry leading by Motorrad. For more information, check them out at motorrad.com. That's motorrad.com. Okay, a little off the subject here. Frog in the throat. Temporary hoarseness. caused by phlegm in the back of the throat. Okay. So earlier, that's where I started out the program. It's an American phrase that entered the language toward the end of the 19th century, and the expression comes directly from the fact that a hoarse person sounds croaky, like a frog. But that's not nearly as interesting as this. Listen to this. Holding a live frog in a child's mouth until the frog died was thought in the 17th century to be a cure for thrush, a viral infection of the mouth. Here, little Johnny, put this frog in you. And I'll tell you, folks, now that I think about it, this is really personal to me, because when my daughters were young, they used to get those little green tree frogs and chase me around the pool. That's true. And to this day, occasionally they will send me a little gift, and it'll be a frog, because they know that I don't like. I had a frog to go and land on my cheek one day, and I thought I was gonna. And never mind. We all have our weaknesses, right? I'll tell you. Now, the storm that is approaching the east coast of Florida, I'm not sure if it's getting stronger or weaker. So, thanks to our connection and our great affiliate, our inaugural affiliate, 1150 WNDB in Daytona Beach, Florida, that is now enjoying all new studios. From that location is a motorsports director, Terry Sabiston, and he is on the phone live, and we're going to get a live update on the hurricane. Terry, thank you so much for calling in. What's up?
Beautiful day here. It's a bright, sunshiny day. Blue skies. It's a great day to make sure you check everything on your car, tire pressure, check your oil, make sure everything's good before you have to make those decisions that we're going to have to make here in the next few days.
Well, what's going on as far as the storm?
They say it's going to turn, and I hope it does. I pray it does. That's what we all need. We need it to turn away from us. It's a pretty big storm, and you never know. We don't know. We won't know until it gets closer. But right now, the thing is, just be prepared. Don't get excited. Do what you need to do to get ready for the storm. Make sure you got everything you need. Make sure your car's ready. Have an emergency bag packed in case you do have to evacuate. Make sure all your important papers are in the right places. This is a time just to focus on that and look, check on your neighbors, look around, see if there's anything out in the yard that needs to be put away. Just time to clean up. I always cut my grass. That's the way you get ready for a hurricane. You cut your grass, your yard doesn't get any cleaner than that. That's, when it's organized and clean, so there's nothing out there blowing around.
So that means
this is the time just to take the time to do that.
So that means that the only time you cut your grass is when a hurricane comes?
No, that's not true. But it's a tradition I've done for years, and so far I've survived most of them, so it's not one I'm going to break. That's you got to look at it that way. It's one of those things where, the right color socks or something like that. Well, I cut my grass, and I'm still here to talk about it. So that must give me some kind of luck.
So let's shift gears just while I have you, and thank you so much for calling. It's always important. And folks, Terry's right, and especially for those of you who are tuned in. I have a friend who lives in Boca Raton, and initially yesterday that storm was heading right directly in that neck of the woods, and I sent him a note, and I said, if for some reason you have to evacuate I-75 North, it will be a parking lot. And Terry, I've seen that before. I've never had to drive through that because I live on the north side, northwest of Florida. But that I-75 corridor is absolutely a parking lot. And then you throw into that one little fender bender, and then now how much fuel do you have? So I know that the big box stores have stocked batteries and those sorts of things. And water seems to always be. In fact, Rusty Staley, who is one of our core teammates here, our service manager, is also the coach of his football. And so every day after working in the shop all day long in a hot service shop, he goes home and goes to the field and he coaches. Now, having said that, he said, Bobby, believe it or not, we can't find water. He said, I buy 10 cases of water for a length of time. I'm not sure how long that lasts. He said, but we'll go through 3 cases of water a day. during one of the games or what have you. And so I know that that's a real issue. But let's shift gears. Let me turn the mic back to you now.
It is an issue, but you got to realize this storm delay, it's been slow getting here. Stores are restocking. Shelves are filling back up. Everybody got their stock, and now there's like, okay, well, I can go. I've got some time and actually, relax, enjoy the weekend a little bit. They're talking Tuesday, Wednesday here, I believe. We're looking better than what we were, so we've got some time. But let's switch over to another gear, Bobby. Let's talk about Southern Stone Communications. We have all 6 of our stations in the new building. Not in the right places, but they're all in the new building, and we've got them out of the old building in the downtown area. We're out on LPGA now and moving out in the direction of where the growth is going on in Daytona, but all 6 stations are now broadcasting under the same roof for the first time in over 25 years.
So, Terry, Paul Stone, as I understand, is the driving force, and he's the individual that has to make the determination of the direction of the stations. What can you say about him and his leadership and the fact that he's made this? It has to be a huge investment there.
It is. Paul Stone is an amazing man to work for, and he knows radio. He lives radio. That's what he's done his whole life. Been building radio stations his whole life. This is what he lives for, and he's going to have the nicest, the newest, the best radio studios in the country here when we get finished. It's amazing to be a part of this. It's an honor to see the remodel as it's going on from construction, from big open rooms to now studios, and it's been a teamwork with the community, bringing several contractors together to make this happen. And the pride with these guys, it was fun working with the construction workers. I'd go in and hand out hog shirts on one day and then vibe shirts on another day. We got 6 stations, and these guys are wearing them on the job site and showing off that they're part of this. And there's pride in this, and Paul Stone's given us a pride to be part of Southern Stone that we've never had before. Well, and I think you're going to see that in the future of Southern Stone Communications.
I can appreciate. I know that we built our studios, and it's ongoing. It's updating continuously, but there's just nothing like having all new facilities. And were it in my power at this time, I would actually build another shop and have it air conditioned and all the things. I would put tile on the floor like they do in Germany, and they call them Dienst in Germany for service shops. And I would put tile down, and number one, it's easier to clean. You don't have to keep painting it like we do ours, but the floor. But I sure appreciate your call, and I want to congratulate Paul Stone and also all of you and your associates there, WNDB, and your brother sister stations. Daytona Beach has, as you know, a place in my heart. It would be my second home, I guess, and perhaps one of these days may be my first. Who knows? But I sure thank you for calling, and congratulations again. Terry Sabiston, Motorsports Director and guru. He and I have been around the racetrack a couple of times there at the Daytona International Speedway, and I just may come down and do a broadcast from WNDB one day.
It's ready for you, Bobby. We'll do whatever we can to accommodate you, but give us a little time. We're still under construction, okay. and I haven't sent pictures because I got to wait until all the studios are done, and you can look down this long hallway and see the row of on-air lights that goes over 100 feet down the hallway.
Wow!
And we'll turn them all on. It's just an amazing radio station. It's so much fun to be part of it and to be part of Bobby Likis. Thanks for letting me call.
Well, and vice versa. Thank you, Terry, and always great to hear from you. Thanks for the update. And folks,
be safe out there.
Thank you, folks. That's the nicest young man that you ever want to meet. He is thorough. He is sincere. He loves. He has a passion for radio, and he's a great connection. And we have those. I'm just thankful for all the connections that we have across the country. And speaking across the country, we're going to go a little north now and take a call from Jeff in New York. And Jeff, thank you for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, Bobby. Good day to you. Always fun.
Thank you. Show. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. And so, likewise.
Okay, so I realize it could be possibly a sticky cable. I've checked the spring tension on my throttle body. What it does is when I change gears, it seems like the deceleration between gears is a 5-speed. The deceleration between gears is pretty slow. And so what I end up with is coming out of third, going into fourth, and that little time frame in between. It's just starting to come down in RPM by the time I get it into gears. Doesn't drop off.
What's a standard transmission?
Yes, it is.
Is it a Voyager?
Bobby, this is my trusty 1994 4-cylinder 5-speed Plymouth Voyager.
Ah, wow. You know how long it's been since I've had a question about a standard we forget about that. Standard transmissions are going away.
I called you. I called you about it clacking, going clack, 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 clack in neutral.
So here's what. So you can duplicate this in your driveway. If you step on an accelerator and back off, it's slow.
I never really thought about doing it that
Well,
way.
here's what we want to do. We want to eliminate, or at least, take one little bite at a time and eliminate the possibility. So here's what I want you to do. Whenever this happens, and I guess I assume it happens all the time, you in your driveway, you pull in your driveway or pull off the side of the road safely and off the highway, and bring the throttle up and then let off of it. And when I say don't nail it and let off, but just bring it up to about 2,500, 3,000 RPM in neutral, in the car in neutral, and then let off immediately and watch the tach in. And that's about what it should do. And then you'll know if it's a sticking throttle or a throttle body, or if it's an idle air controller because it's a 94 Voyager. Check the throttle that you're on the right track. Folks, got a hard brake. I'll be back. Folks, recently a 99 Chevrolet Blazer came into the shop. The owner was having problems with hesitation upon acceleration. He'd already changed out several parts: spark plugs, wires, ignition coil, mass airflow sensor, fuel filter, and the air filter element. He even changed the thermostat and coolant temperature sensor. Still had the same problem after putting a lot of money in this car, and he was frustrated. We dug a little deeper, cleaned the throttle body, and checked for trouble codes. No codes. So we recommended Berryman B12 Chem Tool. Carbon deposits and dirty fuel injector nozzles are a common problem with drivability in late model engines. We also recommended a higher quality gasoline. The customer noticed improvement on the first day, and only a few days and a few hundred miles later, the problem was completely gone. Berryman B12 Chem Tool features HEST, Berryman's exclusive high-energy solvent technology. The result is a more complete combination of available chemical technologies. Drive to BerrymanProducts.com for more information. That's BerrymanProducts.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
More than 1 million wild animals are killed each year illegally. Poaching is a major threat to our country's wildlife. I'm Tom Barry. I'm an actor with a desire to preserve living space for wildlife. The Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust does just that. Works with private landowners to protect wildlife, to preserve natural habitats. To learn more or to work with the Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust, call 800-729-SAVE. That's 800-729-SAVE, or visit wildlifelandtrust.org. Thank you.
Did you know 26 million Americans have kidney disease and most don't know it?
The day I was diagnosed, I didn't know what to do. I called the National Kidney Foundation, and the young lady who answered stayed on the phone with me and walked me through step by step. She too was surviving kidney disease. And she showed me there could be life after kidney disease.
Visit the National Kidney Foundation at kidney.org. Now you know.
We're a land of cynics. We don't believe anything anymore. You know why? Because we've been told we've won $1 million, that it's new and improved, that it slices and dices, that our favorite singer is still alive, that we'll be prosecuted if we cut off the tags, and of course that everything is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So when we hear the words customer service, we don't believe it. Travelocity isn't surprised if you're a little skeptical when they say they have excellent customer service, and that there's actually a pleasant face behind this website, a living, breathing person with a supercharged computer full of answers. Someone who's willing to help when you get lost, and most of all, someone that will actually pick up the phone when you call with a question or a concern. Customer service is just another example of how Travelocity puts you in control of travel. Chances are you'll never have to use it, but it's good to know it'll be there if you need it. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with this segment, 888 Car Clinic. We have special guests in the house today. And so adjacent to the studio, the center of the automotive universe, folks, we have what we call the White Room. Actually, it's a green room in the broadcasting jargon, but we call it a White Room because originally that room was an engine that I built my racing engines as a hobby, not as a profession. And so there are a lot of lights, and when you turn the main lights on, it's so bright in there that we call it the White Room. And so Renee and her son, Josiah, are with us today, and they just came in to watch the show and to listen to me, and so I can see through them and wave at them through the window there, and they're just enjoying and having a great time. And obviously, before they leave here now, I can assure you, Renee's going to know more about her car than she ever thought, just by osmosis, just by the listening to the conversations that we have. And to that end, we have so many of you that reach out to me during the week and at other times, and if you're in Pensacola, Florida, you'll come by and I'll tour the studio, give you a tour of the studio, which I really love to do. We have people that call. We all share different thoughts and feelings and opinions, but when it comes to our automobiles, there's so many, and there are only about a dozen topics, but there's so many applications and so many answers and questions that you can use. So even if you're not particularly a car person, we have so many people that tune into this program. We have, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of wives that tune in, and they've told me, well, I tune in your show. I don't care about cars, but I just enjoy your program. And I tell you that because it is that part of this program that's kept me for 28 years right in this seat and to share information with you. So I invite you to call 888-227-2546. That's 888 Car Clinic. And we just have a great time. Let's take a call from Pat. He has a 2014. Pat, tell us about your issue, your vehicle. What do you drive?
It's a 2014 Impala LTZ.
Okay.
I live in Daytona, and it was an event car that was brought down by GM for the races, and I bought it right after the race. So it had like 28 miles on it or something.
Oh, wow.
And it has absolutely everything that they can put on it. So what happened was one night I was in the far right-hand lane crossing over an intersection, and the right-hand side of the sidewalk jutted out, and I couldn't see it anyway. At about 15 miles an hour, I hit the curb. A little later, my computer screen went out. I didn't lose any capability of what was in there. I just couldn't see. I couldn't see my temperature. I couldn't operate it because I couldn't see it. But the radio and everything worked fine. And about 6 months now, they've looked at it a couple of times, and I just had it in there the other day, and they said they run all kinds of computer checks and looking for errors, and they couldn't find it, and went out and drove the car for 14 miles, and here I am.
Well,
right now it's on.
Oh, it's on. Oh, so
it's
this.
On now.
So.
I mean, it's gone on and off several times.
Ah, okay.
Maybe 5 or 6 times in that 6 months.
Okay, there are two components, and there are wires as well between the two components. But let's leave the wires out because to pinpoint and do pin-out tests of wires is time-consuming. But those two components are, number one, the cluster, which is a digital cluster. And that's a common issue with GMs, and you can actually buy remanufactured clusters. The challenge with, and the reason they haven't replaced it is because they can't really condemn it, and they don't want to throw parts at it. And then you come back a week later and with the same issue, and now who's going to buy the next part? So, but I want you to know that. Then on the other side, there's the body control module, the BCM. And the body control module actually sends voltage to and signals to from the surrounding parts of the car to the cluster. And so that body control module also could be at fault. Now, here's the question that I have. Has there, to your knowledge, ever been a check engine light that comes on well, first, has a check engine light come on at random?
No, sir.
Okay. So I'm going to say then, okay, all right, having said that, the next question would be for the technician who is currently testing the car at the dealer, would be to read for codes, because even though the check engine light is not on, the communication but from the data port to the computer and to the cluster can be monitored. And you have to have a special laptop or a special scan tool to make this happen. And let me be brief about this, but here's something that's very important. We all know that you can go to part stores and they read the codes on your car, and if you got an oxygen sensor light on or whatever, you hope that's what it needs. The code readers that are common to the public are toys. The code readers that automotive parts stores use and read your codes for free are toys. And I don't say that in a derogatory fashion, but here's what I mean. You and I are having coffee and we look across the street and the house is on fire. Well, we read the code, the house is on fire, because we see that. But the first responders need to know where the fire started so they can address that. So they need to get in the house, and that's the difference between a professional code reader that's a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 tool and a toy, because we hook up our code readers and our scan tools, and we get into the burning. We get into and past the gatekeeper. There's an electronic gatekeeper that keeps the toys out and allows our professional computer scan tools to go into the electronic architecture of the vehicle. Therein lies the single most important statement I've made in the 2 hours of broadcast today, is that's the reason that reading a code is nothing more than reading the fact that you're low on fuel and you got to buy gas. But if you've got a problem with fuel or a problem with the engine, knowing how much gas is in is irrelevant. So, or at least to a point. So, what I would suggest is for you to have a conversation. Yes.
First off, I've got to believe that John Paul probably has the best. And
yeah, sure.
He's done all of my cars for the last 35, 40 years.
Agreed.
And there were no codes, according to my service advisor, who's been over all my cars for quite some time now.
Got it.
So I guess for what you said is first they got to look at is it a digital thruster?
No, you look at the scan tool and look at the connection between the BCM and the data port. In other words, there are two highways of electronics in your vehicle. There's a fast speed that is used for the safety and the ABS and all of the emissions controls of the vehicle. And then there's a low speed that's used for the radio and the other non-essential parts that you can, if they go away, it doesn't threaten your safety. So there's low speed LAN and there's a high speed LAN. Let's just think of it as a computer traffic, because there are two different speeds, and our computers and your person that you trust and has done a great job for you can check the continuity and see if he can read or she can read without any problems and be connected to the architecture of the vehicle. And I say that's important because that same methodology is what we use to remotely operate functions such as evap codes and air ride suspensions and other solenoid operated, even cylinder deactivations. And so that's what I would say. Now, having said all that, if there's a problem with the wires, which you probably have now that we've shared this information, therein lies the biggest challenge. So here's what I want you to do just for grins, because we're going to go back to medieval times here, and because it's something that you can do. You're driving down the road in your Impala, and this monster comes up, and you lose your cluster. It goes black, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When that happens, here's what I want you to do. I want you to ball your fist up and wrap the bottom of the steering wheel about at 6 o'clock, and let it ding like a tuning fork. And what that will do is that will vibrate the steering wheel. It will vibrate the column, and the column is attached to the dash, and the dash has the cluster. And so if you can, for some unknown reason, cause that dash to reappear when you strike it. Now, it just could happen that worked one time and one time only. So if it happens one time for you, then wait till it goes out again and try it again. And if you can cause that cluster to reappear by vibrating the steering column, by wrapping the steering wheel, you're not going to hurt a thing. Then that you can go to the dealer and say, when I wrap the steering wheel, then that will give that technician more information, and he or she will know that there is a loose connection or a poor connection within the dash. And then now it becomes a pinout test of checking ohms resistance and those sorts of things, and that's about as much as I can tell you today. You got it?
Well, and I thought myself, and I told him, I said, it's got to be a connection someplace, because if I hit a sharp pothole, it'll go off, and if it's off, it may come back on. And it doesn't matter; you can't do it every time.
Right.
I've used the fist on top of the dash above this computer screen. One time, I rose the computer screen to get something out of that little glove box in there,
right,
and put it back down, and it was out again. So, and then about an hour later, it came back on.
You got to hate it, man. I'm telling you, but you just keep doing what you're doing, and you'll find a way, and there will be something that will eventually, be locatable. And I appreciate you sharing with me, Pat. I wish I had a silver bullet, but I don't. But keep using the fist, okay? Because that's what you got with you all the time.
Right, and if that does in fact work as I go along, I'll call you and let you know.
I expect you to, and I appreciate your call. Take care.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Oh, wow. Medieval. Yeah, ball your fist up. And 888 Car Clinic, that's the number. With plenty of time left to call. 888-227-2546. I had to look at the number. I've given that number out so many times I forget about it. Folks, the average age of vehicles on the road is ever increasing. And according to Experian Automotive, the average age of passenger cars on the road rose from 11.29 years in the first quarter of 2015 to 11.61 years old in 2019. And the most common maintenance procedures to keep a car operating safely and reliably while maintaining its long-term value are a few of the standards. And Terry Sabiston from our affiliate in Daytona Beach mentioned these things. Well, this is from the Car Care Council. That's their business. Things like checking oil, filters and fluids, the belts and hoses, brakes, tires, air condition. According to the Car Care Council, an annual tune-up should include a bumper-to-bumper vehicle health inspection, and wheel alignment is also highly recommended. And the Car Care Council offers a free custom service schedule with email reminders. I've mentioned this many times here on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Just go to carcare.org, put in your VIN number, which will tell the computer everything it needs to know about your car. Put in the miles on your automobile, which will automatically calculate how many miles you drive a year. And lo and behold, you will get email reminders of maintenance services that are due when they're due. In addition, the Car Care Council's popular Car Care Guide for you is available either in print or electronically, and also in English and Spanish. The guide covers major services, component groups with the vehicle, service interval recommended, as I mentioned, and much more. So go to carcare.org. That's carcare.org for more information and to keep your car in your garage and out of mine and on the road. Let's take a call from Daryl. Daryl, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding.
Yes, I have a question about a 2014 Equinox.
Okay.
My neighbor has one, and I bought my wife one. Now, my neighbor, whenever here about 3 or 4 months ago, somebody sat in the passenger seat, the little passenger airbag light up in the ceiling says off.
Daryl, I'm going to have to stop you, and I really apologize. We are at the end of the program today. So I'm going to, and I don't want to rush you, and I'm not going to blow you off. So I ask for your patience, and I ask you to return the call next week. Call earlier, and as I mentioned, folks, call earlier and give us time to discuss and talk about issues, and I'll be glad to help you. 888 Car Clinic, and again, next week, same time, 10 to noon. That's all the time that we have. So if you're like Randall in South Dakota and you need car repairs and parts, go to omnicraftautoparts.com. Omnicraft Auto Parts, Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Like us, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
It's back to school time, and the Car Care Council has a 5-point checklist to make sure your vehicle is kid-safe and road-ready. First, check lights and wipers for visibility. Second, get an annual brake inspection. 3, check tires for underinflation or excessive wear. 4, review tips for seatbelt fit and position. And 5, if your car isn't already equipped, consider installing a backup camera to help reduce the risk of backover incidents. Find more great tips, videos, and recommended service schedules at carcare.org.
If you hear squealing and grinding noises from your vehicle, it's time for new brakes. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, when you buy any set of Brake Best pads and any 2 Brake Best rotors, you'll save 10% on your total purchase. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
P-Ricey Outfitters, I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle, Loden, or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, it starts my morning, happy morning. Your name is Folgers Mountain Grow, now you're here. Your aroma helps me wake and the day is mine to take. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Well, I don't know what position, but I'll. Maybe when Jonathan retires?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think Jonathan goes.